Now, MoveToAmend, Colorado MoveToAmend is a strictly nonpartisan entity. We are not a Democratic group. We're not a Republican group. We will talk with and work with anybody who agrees with us on our issues. If you believe that corporations are not people and that money is not speech, we want you to be a part of the MoveToAmend coalition. Our next speaker is State Representative Joe Miklosi, who is currently a candidate for U.S. Congress in Colorado's new and competitive 6th Congressional District. Now, we did invite the other candidate for the 6th Congressional District, Mike Kaufman, to come and speak to us today. All you need to know is that Joe is here and Mike is not. That tells me all I need to know as a 6th Congressional District voter about which one of these two candidates supports the Constitution and which one supports the corporation. The People's candidate, Joe Miklosi.
Thank you, Stephen. It's a pleasure to be here. And thank you, Ilana from Common Cause, the previous speaker. I was an intern at Common Cause 20 years ago, and I want to thank them for all the work they've done in our state and across the country. Well, welcome to your capital. It's your taxpayer dollars that help fund this. So welcome on this beautiful day. It's a pleasure truly to be with you. Recently, I was at a high school reunion, and I was visiting over lunch with an old high school friend of mine named David, and he's now a police officer in Virginia. And he shared some sad news. He said, Joe, I want you to know, I know you work in public service and in politics, but I've never voted in my life because I believe that corporations have too much excessive influence. And it really saddened me because he believes his vote doesn't matter. Well, I'm here to tell you today that your vote and your participation does matter and that we all matter. We must be vigilant when creating election law or choosing U.S. Supreme Court justices to interpret our laws, to make sure that they're cognizant of the corrupting influence of excessive money in our political system. The anger that Americans feel today stems from a frustration with the political and economic system that does not create enough opportunity for enough Americans. The Citizen United U.S. Supreme Court decision, which treats corporations as citizens, does not foster the type of grassroots civic engagement that our country vitally needs. I stand with you in opposition to that decision, and I pledge to make sure that your voice is continually heard. I speak to so many constituents who want to make America work again. They want to restore economic growth. They want to restore job growth. They want to restore civic engagement for all people. There's too many Americans who are seeing the American dream disappear. And I want to create an economy and a civic republic form of government where everyone feels valued. If the recent recession has taught us anything, it reminds us that we need checks and balances on Wall Street too. The greed that caused the September 2008 financial market collapse is a stark reminder that we need to protect consumers and all of our investments. We also need our lending institutions, especially three of the largest banks that received over $100 billion of our taxpayer dollars, to truly have a sense of humility and to make sure they lend to homeowners and small business owners so that we can expand and grow. We saved them, and I want them to acknowledge that. And we also need to remember that in order to fight excessive corporate power, we need civic power. Our liberties are a fragile thing, and they require constant attention. Making sure that each person's voice is heard and heard equally is a task that we must not carry lightly. Benjamin Franklin once said that the premise of America was not that all people are equal, because some are born into a better lot in life, but rather America was created on the promise of equality of opportunity. We must work hard every day to preserve the equality of opportunity in our most cherished public institutions, whether they be our public schools, our libraries, our courts, and our civic obligation to participate in our republic and all of our democratic institutions. We must make sure that one group, such as corporations, does not exert too much power or influence. The premise of checks and balances and regulations should be applied to them too. Another one of my favorite founders of our country, Thomas Jefferson, once remarked that with freedom comes responsibility. We have a responsibility to be vigilant about protecting our democratic institutions, such as restoring equality of civic opportunity so that more Americans can truly participate in their government. You know, last Monday was Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. On Sunday, I heard a great sermon about Dr. King's life and how at the age of 27, after a long day toiling in the civil rights movement, he felt like he was not inspiring or being a good leader. When he was at the end of his emotional rope, his memoir state, he said he heard a voice, and he remembered how the Old Testament prophet Samuel heard a voice too. And that voice inspired him to forge on and to keep climbing up the mountain for social equality and for justice. And that story inspires me today, because we find solace in the fact that we must toil on to ensure that all Americans have the equal opportunity to participate in their government and that corporations do not wield too much influence. It truly will require all of us to spread that message of hope and equality as we work to form a more perfect union. We can do better. We must do better, so that more Americans like my friend David and all others who feel disenfranchised or that their vote doesn't count experience a rich and welcoming republic that honors all input equally. And I wish you was here today. Always remember that together we can make a difference. Indeed, it's the only way that positive change has ever been sustained. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak today. May God bless you in our efforts to make sure more Americans participate in our cherished political system. Thank you.